Okay, man, look, I know it's your birthday, but we've been playing Sega Bass Fishing for what feels like, I don't know, days, and you keep hogging the fishing rod controller.
Hey, all right. Hey, we can switch it up. Do you want to play Sega Marine Fishing instead?
We here at Wayland-Yutani wish you a happy birthday. Enjoy a cool and refreshing glass of water on the house.
Wait, Coolerbot, are you a Wayland-Yutani product?
Yes, 2-0.
Hold on. And more importantly, isn't the water always free?
H2 no.
Okay, well, regardless, Neal, one last piece of birthday fun. Time to cut this cake that I found.
Whoa, dude, did you get me an ice cream cake?
No, actually, it was just a regular cake. I found it frozen at that disaster site of the, Talbot Engineering place, whatever it was.
Oh, down at the keg?
Yeah, the keg. There.
Okay. Good enough. Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am birthday boy on the day of this recording, Hallstrom.
And I am former birthday boy from like some time previous to now, Rohrbacher.
And we are just a couple of friends who don't really know each other's birthdays, doing alien stuff together.
That is correct. Love it.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
How's it going, man?
Just chilling. You know how
Just
it goes.
chilling. What are we talking about on the show today, Kenny?
Today we are, as far as I can tell, wrapping up the Alien Thaw comic by Marvel with issue 5.
Yeah, Alien Thaw part 5 of 5.
Mm-hmm.
We do know we have an annual coming, but we don't know if it's tied directly into this story or not. It's being sort of solicited as a standalone story.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that it's going to tie into the events of this a little bit somehow, right?
I mean, it might. The last one did. Well, it didn't tie into this comic, but
Right.
it tied into a comic.
A previous Marvel story arc,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of unexplored I mean, maybe unless they do like a huge info dump about this planet, this moon in issue 5, there's a lot of history on LV-695 that we're not aware of,
That's for sure.
and seems prime for a story about aliens versus aliens, if you ask me.
That's right.
Right, which is how the annual is being solicited.
Cool. Hell yeah.
Before we jump into this thing, though, Kenny, I want to say I did a little viewing of the Dead by Daylight Alien chapter,
Mm-hmm.
the public beta, right? Because it's not out yet. It's only, the public beta is out for PC players, which is a very cool thing that they do. Again, this is not a game that I follow, but man, it's a game that I wish I followed. It looks like a lot of fun, honestly.
Well, you can always start playing it, dude.
Yeah, I have, and I'm real fucking bad at it. So look forward to that live stream, everybody. But it looks pretty fucking rad. Like, it looks very cool. There's a map that goes along with the Xenomorph and the Ellen Ripley, right? And it's the Nostromo wreckage map. It's like the Nostromo crashed.
That's kind of cool.
It looks rad as hell. I'm very excited just to check that out. And I'm bringing this up just to say, like, we are still planning on doing our live stream one way or another, maybe a few of them, because I want to get some of our friends involved to play along as well. And yeah, that's still on the books for somewhere likely after August 27th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned to youtube.com/@crewexpendable for that.
I'm doing like the Italian chef kissing his fingers at that at the way you slid that perfectly primed plug to our YouTube page in there. Love it.
It's not my first rodeo. Do you want to jump right into this thing now, or do you just want kind of like bullshit for a little while?
There probably is stuff I could bullshit about, but I mean, I'm okay with just getting to it if you didn't have anything else.
I don't really. I've been, I do want to say I've been reading a hell of a lot of comics lately.
Mm-hmm.
And you know me, I love to bring up Archie anytime I can.
You sure do.
I just love to shoehorn that shit into whatever.
That is correct. You do that, yes.
Well, this past weekend, like a week ago, I was up in South Carolina visiting Sarah, and we went to this bookstore that has this huge bookstore that has like the vibe of like a Barnes and Noble that's going out of business.
All right.
If that makes sense. It's called Second and Charles, and I don't really know what their deal is, but they had just like a shit ton of Archie trades for like $5 to $8.
Hey, nice.
So I picked up like, stuff I already own floppies of, right? But I got Archie versus Predator. I got the Afterlife with Archie trade, Vampironica. I got the first volume of Nick Spencer's Archie run, which was very cool. Just been reading a ton of comics, and then that got me on the purchasing of books, right? Like extra books, on the internet and stuff. Because I'm like, yeah, my fire's lit, dude. I'm reading all these fucking books now.
All right.
None of them Alien books. So just to be clear, I haven't bought any Alien books recently.
That's fine. I mean, you'll have to sooner or later, so it's not that big of a deal.
But I did find something that I didn't know existed. I got a Dark Horse trade paperback of Ian Fleming's James Bond 007 Serpent's Tooth. Have you even heard of this?
I knew that there was a James Bond comic, but I assume it's not part of like the current run that has like the Varger arcs and all that, because I don't think it's done by Dark Horse. So
yeah, this is something else completely different from that Dynamite run that you're talking about. All those different Dynamite series.
Yeah, that was Dynamite. That's who that was.
I just had no idea that this even existed, and I think it's 3 issues, and they were printed as premium books.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now. James Bond 007 Serpent's Tooth from 1992. It is a limited series packaged by Acme Comics and published by Dark Horse.
Okay.
Written by Doug Mensch. That's fun.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for it right now.
I had the option of getting the trade or getting the 3 individual ones, and I was like, this is going to look pretty snazzy on a bookshelf. I'm just going to go for the trade this time. I think I saved a couple bucks on that too, because it's a little discounted, a little, it's a used book. So
just for the record, I just want to clarify to you and the listeners, I've never fucking heard of this comic before.
Yeah, but I know you're a James Bond guy, similar to me. So yeah. So this was just a fascinating find. The other thing I got was the first Witchblade trade paperback, Witchblade Origins.
Now that is a comic I've read.
Yeah.
I've read Witchblade before.
But get this, I didn't get it. This one has the cover from the Witchblade TV series.
Oh, so it's a reprint. Nice.
Yeah, it's a reprint, rebranded to tie into the television series. So it's got the actor who plays Sarah Pazzini on the show. It's like a promo photo, and it says the book that became the TV series. And I just had to have that for the cover alone because Kenny, you may not know this. I own all of that series on Amazon Prime Video.
Oh, nice. I did not know that. I don't know that I've ever seen the TV show. Like I said, I've read the comic. I read like most of the original run of Witchblade. Not all of it, but a lot of it. But I don't think I ever watched the TV show, mainly because it was on like, I don't know, like TNT or TBS, or it was on some cable channel. And like, I never had cable growing up, so I never had the chance to watch it. And by the time I had access to be able to like see it, I had already heard that it wasn't very good. And I knew it got like canceled at the end of season 1 anyway. So it was like, why bother? I
think it got canceled at the end of season 2, and not for lack of quality.
Oh, 2.
I could be speaking out of turn here. I believe it's because the actor who plays Sarah was dealing with alcoholism and in treatment. So they ended the show. I hope that's accurate enough information, and I apologize if I'm disparaging somebody, but I think that's public knowledge.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not going to fact check you, so I'm just going to like take it at face value that what you said was correct.
It's not a bad show. It's a 2000s genre show. It's no Mortal Kombat Conquest, but
nothing is, according to you.
Kenny, let's read Alien Thaw issue 5 again. Spoilers, everybody. We read these new comics live on the air.
Well, live to tape.
Live to tape. Well, it's going out again. We turn the speakers out of the windows.
You're right. I'm not the one that does that here on the ship, so I forgot that we do it.
The USCSS podcast, we do broadcast live, and this just you have to be like around the ship. The longtime listeners know. Actually, speaking of listeners, I got 2 more things to say.
Oh, nice.
First of all, shout out to Connor who sent us that email.
That's right. A great email that I loved to read.
I gave Connor a nice response. Connor, thank you for listening. Anybody who emails us, you're probably going to get a shout out on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I also, on the subject of Alien Comics, we got another DM on Instagram. I'm bringing it up now. We got some DMs from Aaron on Instagram. Shout out to Aaron. Basically, just telling us we're maybe being a little too nice to Salvador La Roca when
Maybe.
we were trying to give the man the benefit of the doubt and not be too critical of the way he draws humans. Aaron pointed out to us that La Roca is known as a serial tracer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And just also, I'm not throwing Aaron under the bus here. I asked them. They said it was cool if I bring this up on the show. But yeah, apparently La Roca is pretty well known for this. And so it kind of makes sense that he would base the main character of that Alien series on himself, because he could get a lot of really easy reference photos that way, right?
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. Once he pointed out, like, no, this dude traces like a motherfucker. This is like Greg Land levels of tracing going on in these books, right? I was like, of course. Why didn't I see it sooner? Right. Like, you can tell, like, that's why there's that weird uncanny valley.
Yeah.
You know,
See, like, it never would have occurred to me in a million years until you showed me this DM. And the moment I read it, I went, that's what's so fucking weird about it to me. That is what it fucking is.
Yeah, man. It's we're going to discuss that more on the next couple of episodes, where we'll be dealing with just a whole bunch of Salvador La Roca art. But you know, we love to learn on this show, and we love to get things correct and be corrected about things. So, Aaron, thanks for the messages. And as a reminder, you DM us on Instagram. What are we on Instagram? At Crew Expendable Pod?
That is correct, yes.
You're probably getting me. And if you DM us on Twitter, you're probably getting Kenny at Crew Expendapod. And if you email us, mother@crewexpendable.net, you're going to get whoever checks the email first.
That is also correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to give you shout outs on the show. Connor was just starting to listen to the show when they reached out. So enjoy hearing this shout out a month after.
Yeah. And like, hope you have fun hearing this shout out to you, like, you know, several weeks from now.
Right.
Yeah.
Assuming like a hardcore binge happens. Right.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
And yeah. Anyway, Connor, hope you're still listening by the time you make it to this episode. All right, Kenny, let's dive in to Alien Thaw issue 5. Spoilers, everybody. Final spoiler warning. Let's get right into this motherfucker.
Well, we start off with, you know, where we normally start off with a comic book, the cover, which, to reiterate from last time we did a Thaw, it is a picture of, you know, you'd think I would have had the foresight to pull this up beforehand. Dayton, that's his name.
Dayton, yes.
Yeah, Dayton was the one I was trying to think of. And his wife, Batya, and they're standing above Zasha, who is hanging off like a ledge over like a scrambling, screaming like group of xenomorphs that is trying to reach up and grab her and pull her down.
Yes. As a reminder, this comic book is written by Declan Shalvey, art by Andrea Broccardo, colors by Ruth Redmond, letters by VC's Clayton Cowles, and this cover by Dyke Ruan and Matthew Wilson. This cover depicting a still alive Batya, right? Do you think this is like a teaser? Like, we speculate, like, it's really weird because she definitely like seemed to die in the last issue of Thaw.
Yeah, I definitely thought she did. Maybe I was just reading that panel wrong. I mean, you know, all the regular listeners will know that over the course of these live read comics, I've misunderstood the idea behind a lot of different panels. So I may have just gotten it, like, guessed and interpreted it wrong when I saw the panel where she died. But I thought that's what it meant, but maybe apparently it didn't. So.
I mean, she looked dead as fuck, right? Delivering that hybrid baby.
Yeah, she sure fucking did look dead as hell, dog.
But we also had another thing happen in the last issue, which is that Dayton was revealed to be a Terminator, right?
That is also correct, yes.
Like, artificial person, synthetic human, whatever you want to call it. He looks like a fucking Terminator, all right? That's
the way they drew him, he did specifically look very Terminator-like, and part of it is because he was holding a big wrench and beating a xenomorph to death with it.
Sure, but I feel like his eye was like hanging out or something. I don't even know if that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really remember the specifics, but he looked weird in a certain way that made him look vaguely Terminator-like, yes.
Right. And yeah, we don't know how he survived the ship. You know, he was on the ship underwater, but we'll figure that out as this issue goes on.
All right.
All right.
So then we start off. Yep, 21.95. We're in the keg. We cut back to 30 minutes prior.
Okay, 30 minutes before the cover. 30 minutes before the previous. I bet we're getting Dayton's escape, right?
Well, the panel here looks to be Wendell the Wiener either getting thrown or jumping through a window in the keg, and we do so then we have a vague idea as to when this takes place, because remember, we saw them, like, you know, Wendell with like the sergeant or whoever, and then it cut to something else,
Right.
and then when they came back, the Sarge was dead and Wendell was gone.
Wendell jumped out this window. Wendell jumped out this window. Fuck.
He sure did.
Because the Sarge is screaming after him, or whoever, the trooper who was with him, says, "Window, don't, no, I have it." But we see the classic Xenomorph scree speech bubble as when Wendell falls, and
he falls,
just fucks up his knee.
Knocks into a couple of things on the way down, and then at one point his knee bends in the opposite direction and bone comes out.
It's like twisted around, like completely separated.
Like the bottom half of his leg from the knee down is just like dangling by skin. It's like busted off.
This is fucked. But somehow he's up and
he's walking away
with a stick. He landed by a stick, which is convenient.
Yeah. And
this
so
he's
walking away.
Yeah, fuck you.
Making it clear he's trying to head over to where the excavation team is.
Yeah. Best chance for survival.
All right. And then we cut back to half an hour in the future, i.e. the present, i.e. right after Dayton finished beating that Xenomorph to death.
Yeah. And Zasha. Yeah, this is that hybrid, or not that hybrid. This was that weird Xenomorph with like the
fish looking one.
The fishy details and not like suspicious details, like a fish. Okay.
Yeah. And Dayton is still worried about Zasha and how she's doing. And there she is. She says right here, "Mama's dead." Bam. I knew it.
Unless Mom's also a fucking synth. We'll see.
Oh, she says she's gone, her and the baby. So I guess the baby died during childbirth as well.
Remember, we thought, and that specimen jar that Zasha is holding is the baby. Is the hybrid baby.
Yes. Yeah, after it was born, she put it into the thing, I guess, to like take it with her. I don't know why I was going to say I don't know why she thought she needed it, but like by that point we had found out that like Batya put some of the sample that she was studying in the baby. So maybe Zasha had the foresight to be like, aha, this could be of some scientific use, maybe, or something.
Yeah, that's why they were trying to get samples out, because that's, Batya kept saying this is our best chance of getting out of this. Okay, right? Like, whether it's money or just having something Weyland-Yutani wants so they can be like, let off the hook, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But that little potato in there in that sample jar is the baby.
And for the record, the reason it looks like a potato is because she wrapped it up before she put it in there.
Yeah,
the baby does not look like a potato.
She wrapped it up in tin foil with some butter.
That's right. Rosemary on the top. Yeah.
She is surprisingly chill about Dayton being like a robot. Right.
Yeah. Because she's like, wait a minute, and he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And she just kind of like, all right.
He's like hugging her. He loves her so much. He like really cares. Right. But she's like, why are you all white? Why is your face like that? What are all those things all over you? Like his pearls, like those like bubbles inside them. Those onions, right? It looks like a string of onions.
Right. And this is when Dayton finds out that Batya injected herself with, quote, something, Zasha says. And of course, he immediately knows what it is. He's like, God damn it.
Motherfucker.
And
he says it. He
but
literally is
he, but he tells Zasha that she has to leave the baby here.
Yeah. She's mad about that. She's like, no, mom
sure
died
is.
for this. I can't just let it go. Right.
Yeah, and he says that the reason why is because nothing good will come of this. Like, whatever it was she's trying to do, look what happened. It's the reason she's dead.
Yeah, he knows. He
And,
says nothing good comes from these creatures. I tried to warn her.
Yeah.
And he's like, we have to get you off this rock before it's too late.
But they decide to go back to where her body was and leave the baby with her there.
Yeah, I kind of understand that. I mean, I'd chuck it in the fire, but
Oh, and then we find out a little bit of backstory about what Dayton's deal is. Let's see. Zasha was really young and
wow.
he met Zasha's parents when she was little, but they hired him to work at this base. I worked at the lower levels away from you until, quote, the accident, which i.e. is when her father died.
Yeah. Betty didn't know she was pregnant the day he slipped off the platform trying to get the ship free of the ice. You know that in order for the mission to continue, there needed to be a crew of 2 adults. Since I wasn't on the books, your mother asked me to take his place, even his name, as the ops director, so she could continue her research. Wow.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I kind of like that. Later, she found out complications from her pregnancy, and that's why she started doing the research, like with the with the Xenomorph stuff.
She was worried. She was worried the baby wouldn't survive, and so they believed that something they found under the ice would make the baby strong enough to survive. And this is all being told to us while those other 2 Weyland-Yutani guys, including the dude with like half the face written up, finds information about Dayton Zahn, and the picture is of a different guy than the Dayton we know. So they have now also discovered that Dayton's not the real Dayton.
They've still got his body there. He's seen better days. But yeah, Dayton Zahn. Huh.
Yeah, it says here he was operations director, cause of death, maintenance malfunction is what it says here.
Yeah, and then Robo Dayton is discussing that Zasha found something, a discovery she'd only heard of as a rumor, which I guess must be the Project Alpha stuff, right?
Presumably.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm going to assume unless the comic says something different.
Bro, yeah, because he says something with a resilient genetic trait, something revolutionary, something alien. And we get this panel of the soldiers. She's got xenomorph heads. She's got like fins, the tubes from the back, face huggers.
It's a whole wall of blocks of ice with pieces of xenomorphs frozen inside of them.
Chest bursters, hands.
So he was correct. Dayton was correct when he was like, she was fucking obsessed, dog, and it killed her. Don't fall into this trap. Yeah. She was a fucking freak about this, as it turns out.
Yeah, she's wildly into this. 95 rounds on the dude with the fucked up faces gun. Let's just keep track of that. On 95 on the other one too. I feel like they had less in a previous issue, but maybe they've reloaded.
Yeah, maybe they found some more. I don't know.
Yeah, this is wow, she had a lot of fucking samples, huh? They've been carving this place up for a while. So that face hugger we found was in the first issue, was not the first sample by any means.
Yeah, like she definitely Batya definitely knew what it was when they found it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I do wonder if it's maybe the first viable sample, because we've got a lot of parts, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
But
I mean, there are some full creatures, but none of them are like xenomorphs. Yeah. There's a chest burster here. There's a few face huggers.
And then just parts like a builder, like if you had the Scorpion Alien toy from the Kenner line and you press the button on its back and the head pops out and the chest splits in 2 with one arm on each.
Let me guess. You're going to go on record and say that this is a called out, specific, and purposeful reference to that.
I
Right?
don't see what else it could possibly be.
I knew it. I fucking knew. The moment you said, like with the scorpion alien, I was like, oh God.
And just to be clear, the quote unquote scorpion alien, I'm pretty sure that's what it was called, is the warrior. It's what we know as the warrior alien.
Yeah, that's correct.
But with a much, much smaller tail that doesn't blow off when you press the button right above its tail, right where its like butterfly tattoo would be, lower back.
Yes,
that's where the button was.
I got it. Don't worry.
Alien Thaw, part 5 of 5. We got the splash page here.
And it does confirm, just like we said earlier, this is the final issue of this arc.
Yes, the 6th issue will be the annual. I've explained that on, I think, 3 episodes now. Everyone gets it.
But yeah, we see a bunch of xenomorphs flooding the place. Somebody gets a pharyngeal jaw directly to the face.
Hell yeah. There are so many Xenos just marching through here. This is kind of sick.
Yeah, dude, it rules.
Like
this
it
looks
like
great.
Fire Team Horde levels of Xenomorphs coming through here.
I like this 4th panel. The guy here on the left, how his dome is all like shiny and stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a very cool drawing of a xenomorph to me. I really like that.
These Xenomorphs look pretty good. They are all they seem drone-like to me, right? Like they're all on two. Yeah. They're all on 2. I don't know that this is like so here's the thing, in the Dead by Daylight Xenomorph is, I guess, something called a stealth killer as well, but it has like, it can walk upright and it moves, I think, slower, but then you can crouch down and it can move on all 4s and it won't be as stealthy. So this is clearly a tie-in to Dead by Daylight.
Oh, clearly, yeah.
Unsure how, but it is.
Well, we'll figure it out somehow.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, it's a whole horde of xenomorphs, and they're just looking like regular first movie type of guys.
It's also a tie-in to Mortal Kombat 10 or Mortal Kombat X, if you're one of the cool people.
There you go. They're breaking in, killing people, and the 2 WY guys that are still alive, I think it was like one of them was like just a soldier, and I think was the other one a doc, or was the doc the one that got killed?
I don't know if this is Doc or not. Yeah. I want to say this is Cleary. Yeah, Doc Cleary. That makes sense.
So
right?
Yeah, that's the doc then.
Yeah.
So yeah, then the 2 of them are running away from the xenomorphs, and they're like, fuck this, we need to get out of here. And
meanwhile,
as they're running away, it cuts back to Batia's body, where they have, Zasha and Dayton have found her body, and they put, the baby in with it.
The specimen jar.
Put the baby in with her, rather,
right? They didn't put it back in her.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of comic book, you freaks.
And then they finally get up to go.
Sorry, did that throw you off, that thing I said?
No, I was just reading the comic.
All right. Okay. Dayton's like, all right, let's go. Access lift this way. Let's boogie. And she's like, come on. It's my mom. I'm having an emotional reaction. Synths don't have emotions, do they? And he's like, it's complicated.
He's like, we kind of do. Yeah. Sorta.
A lot changes in 8 months. And then he says, goodbye, Batia. We've seen him have emotional reactions to things. Those can't just be simulated. Like, he wasn't like simulated to be like angry stepdad at the dinner table and throw the food at the wall.
Yeah.
Something that is apparently really stuck out to me.
Yeah, apparently. But they stroll away.
Sorry. It is pouring rain out of nowhere, everyone.
Oh, shit.
There may be technical difficulties in this episode that we won't be able to edit around. Just a heads up. This came out of nowhere. All right, let's power through.
Well, okay. They get to the elevator. Dayton apologizes again, and Zasha's like, it's fine. My entire family, including my brother, apparently is dead.
And
I don't
have everyone. My whole life has been a lie. You're a robot, right?
Yeah. And then he's like, well, you'll always have me. And she's like, who the fuck even are you, though? I didn't even know who you were. Like, I literally didn't know you existed until like 3 months ago. And then he has the panel where he looks down, clearly feeling sad about himself.
Yeah.
That comics always do.
She literally gives him, I don't know who or what you are, pal.
And then they get down.
The art is, that panel with him looking down, though, is so sick looking, like both gross looking and cool looking. like both definitions of sick. All right.
Yeah, because it's like you can still see like the metal underneath, but like most of the skin, not all, but most of the skin of his face is still attached.
Yeah.
But like the parts of it that are missing almost make it look like straps of skin wrapped around to keep it in place.
Which technically he is just like wearing skin as a mask.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
it's still fucking wild looking, but he's, a him
But,
or here. So I have to posit this because I'm sorry, just before we move on. So Dayton, he was a synthetic. He was headed for the scrap heap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Real Dayton John dies in a maintenance accident. Listed cause of death, maintenance accident. This Dayton, they claimed, lost his arm in a maintenance accident. Is that part of the cover?
Probably.
Like, do you think he had both arms and they removed one as evidence of the maintenance accident? Like,
well, they probably reported that. Well, I was going to say that they probably reported that something happened to the original Dayton, but like, no, they probably actually didn't. It's probably something happened to him, and then then Batia was like, "Uh-oh," and so just like, I obviously not got rid of his body because we just saw the soldiers find his body, but probably was just like, this synth, your name is Dayton now.
Right. I'm going to take your arm off and we're going to call this a maintenance accident. That's going to cover for whatever report. Because it could have been like a report or something went out, when a machine malfunctioned. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
I bet he gave up his arm for this is what I'm saying.
Probably. Yeah. That's my guess as well. But yeah, they get off the elevator down to the ship, and Dayton says that the last person up here was your dad, and we know what happened there. So apparently here is where the real Dayton died. That's fun.
Yeah, slipped on some ice off the well, no, they got his body. He didn't go like off the platform. This ship looks cool. There's fire. We can see the fire all around because the keg is burning down and everything. Good panel. Probably the artwork for the episode. Calling it now.
And then Zasha stops Dayton to be like, look, Dayton's my dad's name. That clearly was not what your name actually was. So like, what's your name? And he's like, we gotta go. And then they get interrupted by the two Weyland-Yutani guys that are like, oh no, you'll have plenty of time to talk about this when the two of us take the ship and fucking leave you here.
Jesus, why did this guy become such a fucking, like, I was like all jazzed up about this guy. I was like, this guy's gonna be a badass and he's gonna help everyone out, and he's just been nothing but a self-preservationist prick since then.
I'd also like to point out to the listeners, to remind them in case they forgot, and to Neal, remind you about it, just to needle you about this some more.
Yeah.
When these guys first showed up and you're like, oh, this guy is going to be like a cool badass sweeping around, killing all the xenomorphs. My response was, he's a Weyland-Yutani employee. Fuck that guy. So I would like to point out that I was correct about that.
You were correct about that. I still thought he could have just been like a jobber. Just a jobber. Doesn't know what he's getting into, right? But no, he's a dickhead. I don't like this fucking guy. Dude, it's a synthetic who's falling apart and a young girl, and you're literally like, fuck you guys.
Yeah, like there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to take them with them. But speaking of which, this badass guy...
Everyone in this comic book is a fucking asshole.
Okay. We actually find out that the ship can actually only hold 3 people.
But he's a synth.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, Dayton's like volunteering to be like, look, you can leave me behind all you want. I'm a fucking synth. I don't care, but at least take her with you. And the guy accuses Dayton of killing the real Dayton.
Right.
I don't know why, but the guy still says, no, we're not going to take Zasha. And he says that his reason why is because the whole reason we're here was to go search for her. And because of that, all of my friends are dead. So as far as I'm concerned, she can get fucked.
Jesus. Yeah, he really is. Like, all of this started because I had to go search for the runt, and now everyone's dead. That's some twisted ass narcissist logic.
Dayton gets pissed off and he's like, she's just a child, and fucking tackles the guy. and
Oh, damn.
Dayton fucking rips open the dude's eye wound. That's
Right.
cool.
Dude's like, I didn't think it effective would have such spark. And he goes, how's this for defective? And claws into the man's like scarred up face.
And then the guy pulls out his gun and fucking blows Dayton away, it looks like.
He shoots him. I think he shoots him in the...
Well, no, it's the other way around. Dayton shoots the guy.
Boom.
Okay.
Wait, was it the other Wayland guy took the shot? No, it wasn't.
Who specifically took the shot isn't the important part of what's going on. It's the fact that we see the guy pulling out the gun.
No.
Then there's a gunshot, but then it turns out that guy is the one that got shot.
Zasha did it. This is important. It's hard to see. All right. The panels, I mean, it's a third of a page almost, but we're very zoomed away. Guy dropped his pulse rifle. He was pulling out a sidearm to shoot Dayton. Zasha shot him. She's got his rifle.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, he gets shot. His body falls over the edge as literally like dozens of xenomorphs are swarming all over the place. And they eat his body when it lands. Cleary gets all pissed off and threatens them with his gun.
Right, but Zasha's got her rifle trained on him.
Yep.
He's like, don't fucking try it. I don't want to shoot a kid, but I will if I have to. Nice.
Dayton tries to reason with them, and when Cleary tells him to shut the fuck up and he's leaving alone, another one of the fishy xenomorphs
hell yeah
appears right behind the guy and literally cuts his head off.
God damn, this might be the podcast art. We'll see.
Taking
a screenshot right now.
As his head flies over the edge, Dayton and Zasha are like, we gotta fucking go. But the thing comes after them, and Dayton pulls out the big pulse rifle and starts firing at it.
I love that as like the guy's head falls off, right? The thing.
Mm-hmm.
Zasha and Dayton start running. The thing turns to go after them, and the body is still like falling over. As he unloads the pulse rifle. Yeah. Good action. Good panels right here.
Let's see. As Zasha is running towards the ship while Dayton is distracting the fishy alien, some regular Xenos start climbing up over the side.
That white alien got big too. Look how much bigger it is.
He's fucking big as hell. He is like noticeably bigger than the regular Xenos.
And he has gums, like pink gums.
But she gets onto the ship, and when she does, she starts calling out for him, indicating that despite her claiming earlier that she doesn't give a shit about him, turns out she actually does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she shot the guy to save his life. I mean, also probably to save her own, but you know what I mean.
And then the big white fish xenomorph starts murdering all of the regular xenomorphs. That's fun.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dayton is initiating launch from the flight deck, right? From the platform.
Yeah, he's not on the ship, and he remotely activates it to fly off. He says it's going to take her to an old Talbot facility. And she says, no, come with me. I want you to be here with me.
Yeah, but he's like, I promised your mom I would protect you both. I couldn't keep her safe, but I can protect you. Man.
And he says that she shouldn't be sorry because thanks to her and her mom, they were able to give him like a real life and like feel like a real person before he gets destroyed.
A family. He's like, you gave me a family.
And then
he starts to say what we assume is I love you, and the comm gets cut off as the platform is just overrun with Xenos and the ship is blasting off into the atmosphere.
Yeah, we see the ship fly off into the atmosphere, and then it cuts back to Wendell, who's lying there going, ow, 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 just as a face hugger wraps around his face.
Post-credit scene.
And then it cuts to Batya's body still holding on to her son as the fire consumes the place.
Yeah, we get a nice monologue by someone here.
The white fishy xenomorph is looking real fucked up.
It's missing part of its head. I think it was just sheer numbers, you know.
And
this is a monologue by Zasha.
Yeah, it is.
We own the cold, so we'd like to think. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But,
yeah, all of this is given over panels of like xenomorphs crawling around, presumably still underwater, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this is some strange object underwater here that's xenomorph-like, but I can't tell what it actually is.
Yeah, it looks sort of like a xenomorph. Like it has the shape of one. I don't know what it's like supposed to be though.
Yeah, but it's in the foreground and we see the sunken Boreas. That's the ship that was underwater in the back. We still don't know how Dayton got off the ship, do we? But I guess as a synthetic, he was just like, I'm just going for it. Right.
And we see Zasha alone in the ship as it's flying. And
my mother wanted to create a legacy. How horribly successful she was.
Yeah, she's given a whole monologue about how things change slowly until you like don't realize what happened. Like, it changes so gradually that you don't like realize the change happens at first.
Yeah.
And then she talks about how she's going from one cold outpost to another.
Yes. Again, we're not going to recount this whole thing, but it's a very good speech about like the cost of being a pioneer, right?
Yeah.
All the exploring, all of the dangers, and obviously losing everything as a result of all of this, right?
Oh, and also for the listeners, that's the end of the comic. That's how it ends.
That's the end of the book. Temperature changes by a matter of degrees over time, but I lost everything in one crack of ice. Yeah. Good writing. The last page is we see the white fish-like xenomorph, as we keep referring to it, with a standard xenomorph head, like the two heads overlapping each other in the background, with the ship, the Talbot engineering ship, flying in the foreground. Very
yeah, that's it.
Very cool. Honestly, good ending.
And then we got a little bit of a teaser here. First off, we find out that says here that Declan Shalvey and Andrea Briccardo are returning as the creative team for the next arc. But it says here in October, it's going to be Declan Shalvey and guest artist Danny Earls doing the annual, which is extremely annoyingly titled Alien Annual #1, which was the same title as the previous annual we just covered.
That's why we're going to date them by the years, right?
But it is referred to as a one-shot. And the cover of it is a gigantic picture of an alien queen running through some rock debris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the log line here. This is the annual drops October 4th. And the description here, at least on Comixology, is Alien vs. Alien. Pity the Xeno. A xenomorph queen and her hive descend on a dark world. They're hungry, they're always hungry, and stand poised to overrun this planet like they have so many others, until the native life fights back. Declan Shalvey and Danny Earls deliver an action-packed story and show-stopping visuals in this standalone entry in the alien mythos. So my theory on how this might connect to this is that we might see the xenomorphs landing on LV-695 before the big freezing, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Like I'm less convinced it's going to tie in now, having read.
Yeah, this. I'm guessing that's not going to happen because they described it as a standalone comic.
Right, but it could still stand alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
If it happened like hundreds of years before this story, that would still technically be a standalone. I don't know, but damn, dude. What did you think of Thaw? All right,
well, I was just about to say, give your official review of the final issue of Thaw.
Final issue or the whole story arc?
Well, let's do just this issue first.
This is a really good issue. Mm-hmm. This issue tied up pretty much everything. Now, it didn't answer every question, but I don't want every question answered. I don't want to know more about the baby and the genetic engineering and stuff. Like, I'm glad that was just put away a little bit, right? I'm glad that we got to see the fate of Wendell at the end, right? That was a very fun sort of wraparound thing. I think this tied everything up in a very satisfying way. I believe that Declan Shalvey has answers to this like genetic mutation stuff that he's just not showing us. You know what I mean?
All right.
And if he doesn't
Yeah,
have
fair.
answers to it, it also doesn't fucking matter because I'm not that interested in it. You know?
Yeah.
I like the teasing of ideas a little bit more than the delivery of them sometimes. We've talked about that a million times. I don't need to know where the xenomorph came from. I don't need to know why there's this one gray face hugger that creates these fish-like white versions of the xenomorphs, etc. I don't need to know the whys and the hows of all of that stuff. I don't care. Having all the answers doesn't make it more fun for me, right? It just makes it less scary and interesting.
I gotcha.
So I think that this was a banger issue, honestly. I think it gave me everything I wanted. It wrapped this story up in exactly the way I wanted the story to be wrapped up. What about you?
I will go on record right now that of all of the comics we've read so far, I think this is the one that stuck the landing the most.
This nailed it in 5, didn't it?
Yeah, I like this issue a lot. Like, you know, when we found out that there were only going to be 5 issues instead of the regular 6, both of us were worried that, you know, issue 5 was going to feel kind of rushed or maybe not have enough answers or like feel like there should have been a 6th issue. But no, I think 5 was the perfect length.
Yeah.
I thought all the shit they did in this comic was cool. I thought it ended in a very satisfying way. Like I said, I think this is the best final issue we've read so far for the show.
Yeah.
This is the one that I was the most satisfied by when we finished it.
I agree. I think I agree with you. This is this stuck the landing better than anything else.
All right,
maybe with the exception of my personal favorite, Outbreak.
All right, well, then give me your thoughts on this arc as a whole.
Real fucking good. I start to finish, I loved this. This is of the Marvel books, this is the best one. This is the best series so far. I still really like Icarus. Obviously, Icarus, we had some issues with the ending. We don't need to go back into that again. I still really like Icarus as a series. This is better. This is better than the Dark Horse stuff we've read so far. Again, with an asterisk next to Outbreak, because that thing is just weird and cool, you know? And I think honestly, like, I mean, Archie versus Predator is fun, right? And we made some comparisons recently about how that might be our favorite thing we've read on the show.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking for like your sci-fi horror monster book, this does a better job. Like Archie versus Predator is clever and funny, right?
Yeah.
This is just, it feels so much like Alien and Aliens, but it also feels so original, right? Like it plays by the rules of the series, you know? But it does it in interesting ways. And I think that the reason it's successful is all that stuff I was ranting about earlier about how it doesn't try to answer every single question.
Yeah.
It still boils down to some people, a handful of people ill prepared for a situation trying to escape a disaster, like involving xenomorphs, you know? And then it stays focused on that goal. And I think it does a really, really good job of delivering that. What about you?
How should I put this? I still think I might like Icarus better as a whole, like, you know, taking the entire arc into consideration. I think I might like Icarus more, but it's hard for me because, you know, that's also one thing I'd like to say. You keep saying every time Icarus comes up that we had some issues with the ending. We did not have some issues with the ending. I had some issues with the ending. You thought the ending to it was good.
Well, you know, I'm allowed to reevaluate that opinion as time goes on. You know,
okay,
what I mean?
fair.
Like, I don't think it was perfect. I think it was fine. But I know that I felt like issue 6, I felt like it rushed a few things. You know,
but yeah, the reason I'm bringing it up is because I think overall as an arc, I may like Icarus a little bit more, but the ending to this one is just so strong and so satisfying in a way Icarus's was not to me that I don't know, man. I might actually like this one better because, like, the thing of it is that this comic is more in line with what I like out of the Alien franchise, which is a xenomorph stalking and murdering people.
Right.
And because like the Icarus comic is much more directly a parallel to Aliens,
Right.
whereas this is much more directly a parallel to Alien in comparison to the sequel.
Yeah.
And so you'd think that I would very clearly like this one more, but I don't know, man. Like the first 5 issues of Icarus were fucking great.
They were really good. Yeah, they were clever, and the art was very cool. There were all these like fascinating like a synth in like with like a scarf and a giant axe, like walking in acid rain to go fuck up a xenomorph queen. Like that
it's
had a lot of like great visuals.
There's a lot of what I would describe as iconic moments in that comic that the comic overall left me a little bit cold just because I didn't love how it ended. Whereas I had more fun reading Icarus issue to issue, but I was left with a more satisfying feeling when I finished this comic because I liked the ending a lot more. So I don't necessarily know if I like this more than Icarus, but the both of them are like probably my top 2. I just don't know what order they go in.
Right. Specifically top 2 of what we read for the show, right?
Yes.
Not out of all things necessarily.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, but I think Icarus into this has been a good run for the Marvel comics, and they're getting they're starting to do some cool shit. I mean, I think the Marvel comics have always had really good ideas, even if maybe some of those earlier runs the execution was a bit lacking.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to dive into those on the show next. So we'll really explore that idea soon. But I don't know, something about this too, like the story, this family story, this young girl being caught up in this, right? Like it didn't feel, I mean, we joked about her doing her best Newt impression when she's crawling through the vents, right?
Yeah.
But this didn't fall into Aliens tropes in terms of like the family dynamic, you know, which I appreciate. It felt like its own family, not a rehash of stuff that we've already kind of seen. And I mean, obviously some just crazy ass shit with, you know, Dayton being a synthetic after all, and just like Batia injecting herself with the sample to try to get it out. Just all this crazy shit going, like it was, I don't know.
And that panel where those 2 soldiers come across that wall of xenomorph parts, I'm going to be thinking about that panel for a while.
Yeah, just like the hidden secrets of, you know, Batia's research and everything. And like and like I turned on her a little bit last Thaw issue, but I've come back around on her because I sort of understand her desperation more.
Yeah.
Right. Like I understood, like I didn't really fully grasp her desperation until this issue when we learn about Dayton dying, complications with her pregnancy. She got obsessed, but she got obsessed because she's trying to save her child, you know, her unborn child. And they're out there all alone, you know. Talbot Engineering has basically forgotten them, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the point of this. So I've come back around on her. I ended up like really caring about all of these characters. The Dayton arc, the synthetic like learning emotion stuff, pretty cool, you know.
For sure.
Not unheard of. I mean, obviously Bishop like develops an emotional connection with Ripley, right? And David's emotions were unchecked, much to the detriment of humanity. You know. But but seeing it on this scale was I don't know, it was very cool. I loved this. I loved this story. This one's going to be one that I'm going to revisit.
Yeah, I had a great time with it, and I will have no reservations about recommending this arc to other people to read.
Yeah, this is a good starting point, right?
Because actually I don't know that we ever mentioned it on the show before, but back some time ago, I think it was when we first started doing Icarus, we were in a Discord server and we mentioned that, we're going to start reading the new Marvel arc. And like somebody else in the Discord was like, oh yeah, I started reading that first Marvel arc when they first got the license. And like, I didn't really like it that much, so I bounced after a couple of issues. Did the series eventually get better? Yeah. And so that's why I'm mentioning it, because I'd like to point out if there was anyone that started reading that first arc, Bloodlines, and was like, don't worry, the comic got better in subsequent arcs.
It did, yeah. I do think and we'll check this math when we jump into Bloodlines and I always forget the second one.
Revival, I think.
I always want to call it Salvation, but that's a different series, I believe.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Salvation is the Mike Mignola one, if I recall.
that rings a bell.
But anyway.
But if as you go Bloodlines to Revival to Icarus, now to Thaw, each one gets better than the previous one, in my opinion.
I still, as of this recording, I still have not read Revival, but of the 3 that I have read, I will agree with that statement. Yes.
Yeah. Annuals and one shots notwithstanding, because we had like Aliens Aftermath in there and the Alien Annual from last year or whenever.
Yeah.
Those are just kind of their own things, right?
Yeah, they're their own thing, like you said. It's fine.
Yeah, man, this was good. The art is incredibly strong in this book in Thaw. Andrea Briccardo crushing it. Ruth Redmond with these colors, absolutely fucking crushing it. It's got this animated quality to it that I think when we did issue 1, I said it looks like Naruto. That's not like
I believe you did make that comparison. Yes,
it's just got like the character designs are really cool, and I also made a comparison to like Dan Hipp's artwork, an artist I really love. I still see that in the characters, but this is not anyone cribbing anybody else. Just like to give you a sense of the visual style if you haven't looked at it. The book looks really good.
I want to point out to you specifically, Neal, because I still have the comic open.
Yeah.
I believe you said, who was it? Ruth Redmond did the colors?
Yeah, at least for this issue.
All right. I would like to point out to you mainly and the listeners, if they have a copy of the comic at hand, the panel near the end of the issue when the gigantic white xenomorph is killing all of the regular xenomorphs.
Yeah.
The art on that panel is phenomenal, but I would like to specifically point out the coloring on it. How, like, the coloring makes it very clear, very distinct, because like the xenomorphs and the fishy xenomorph, like biologically, they have the same like body parts generally, like they're still like, covered in ridges and all that.
Yeah.
But the coloring makes it really easy to tell what xenomorph part that you're looking at belongs to which creature. You can see how easily it's killing all of them because like there's spurts of green acid blood all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, the panel, like the background, like has like a gradient where it gets darker the farther, like the coloring
peach to red almost.
Yeah.
Gradient.
Like the coloring looks really good in the book, but it's really easy to tell from looking at this panel just how good the fucking coloring is.
And I loved the coloring and the panel layouts and everything felt really dynamic in Icarus. I think I like this better. These pages, I think. Yeah.
I will definitely agree to that. Yeah.
Terrific.
And I
book.
just going through and looking at it, like, even though it's obvious when you look at it, my brain didn't really consciously register how fucking big this fish xenomorph is.
Yeah.
It's so regular xenomorphs are like bigger than humans, but they're like, 8 feet tall or whatever. This guy is probably like 12, 14 feet tall. He is massive and it looks so cool.
Yeah. We never saw it in comparison with the standard Xenos, the XX121s.
Yeah, up until this issue, I think the only time we ever saw it, it was by itself.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just popped back into an issue of Icarus issue 4. Coloring is really good in that book too. It's a tough comparison. Completely different art styles, like different goals with the artwork. But God, that's a good looking book too. One thing about this, like you mentioned that this leans more towards what you want in an Alien book. And I think that there was a smart idea. We see a horde of xenomorphs, right? We see them outside the facilities. We see them start working their way into the facilities, but we never really see direct confrontations between the survivors and more than one xenomorph at a time.
Yeah, that horde is always around, and we're like, oh, that's going to become a problem, but it never really does become a problem until the very end of the book. So it's always like an oncoming, like, building threat in the background, while the real immediate threat is this one guy.
Yeah, it's usually one at a time, and they're these kind of like altered versions of them that get kind of picked off on occasion. Like we see 2 of them die before this third one shows up right at the end, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the right count. But the horde is always there, sort of ratcheting up the tension of this whole thing, and keeping the action moving. And I appreciate that because like I can play fire team if I just want to gun down like hordes of Xenos, right? In fact, I played fire team last night and did that very thing,
I got you.
But I think still having the encounters still be these one-on-one situations and still having them be like full of dread and like we're not even prepared to deal with one of these fucking things really helps the horror element, right? Really helps this feel in line with Alien, Yeah. I think this walks the line between the first two movies like really, really well.
For sure.
In a way that a lot of other stuff I think attempts to do that and just doesn't do the best job of it. Looking at you, Alien Resurrection.
Ouch.
Got him.
Shots fired.
Got him. Good book.
Yeah. I agree.
Good jumping on point. If you're like a casual Alien fan, like this is one to just like jump in and read. And like I understand that we spoiled the fuck out of this, but you got to look at this book. You got to look at this. You got to read this. There's plenty of stuff we skipped over. Like there's good details. There's probably things that we completely missed because we're doing it in this format that make it even better,
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where like, we tried to hit every like point that seemed major to us. And like every time there was like, bricks of dialogue, we would just like skim it and just like give you the gist of what they were saying for the most part.
Right.
But it's like, the way I see it is even if you've listened to these Thaw episodes and haven't read the comic, you should still go read the comic, not just because that's like the medium it was originally intended to be consumed in, but also like think of it like watching a movie a second time.
Right.
Just because you already know what happened doesn't mean you can't enjoy it,
Yeah. Kenny, I just shared a picture with you from Dan Hipp's Gyakushu. Tell me you're not getting vibes of that guy from this image.
That
right?
guy rules. I love him.
You can see where I'm coming from, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
I love that guy. This is the first time I've ever seen him, but he rules, and I love him a lot.
He's the main character of the series. It's a good series.
I'm getting big Hellboy vibes from this art style.
Yeah,
which is a big part of the reason I like it.
He might have done some Hellboy things here and there. Anyway, that's Dan Hipp. He's not the guy we're talking about. He didn't do the Alien book. But man, if Dan Hipp did an Alien book, I'd be all over that.
But yeah, this comic rules. It's great. I'm laughing to myself once again at the panels where Wendell the Wiener gets face hugged. Fuck that guy.
They knew like to put that near the end, but not the exact end, right? Like that almost felt like a post-credit scene, right? Except that then we got the actual ending with Zasha's monologue and her tragic fate,
But yeah, I had a great time with the book. It was really fun. I'm giving it 9 thumbs up.
Yeah, I will go. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Rating scales are weird, right? Like on my last podcast, I tried to institute a rating scale of 6 to 8 air horns.
Yeah.
Which is just a range of 3.
That is correct.
This might be a 10 out of 10 for me. I can't think of any like real complaints I have about this book.
Yeah, I was even worried that only having 5 issues, even if like I was worried that like the ending would still feel unsatisfying just because I was like, we didn't get that extra issue of content. But like, no, now that I've read it, I was like, no, they planned on this being 5. It's fine.
Yeah.
It works out great.
This was paced correctly, and I'm glad. And I feel like it was smart because every other arc has been 6 and the pacing has just been off, right?
Yeah.
So
sure.
I'm glad that they pulled it back to 5 for this. It was the right move.
Also, I'd like to say for the record that when I gave this comic 9 thumbs up, that wasn't me saying it was a 9 out of 10. That was me making a reference to the Simpsons joke where someone goes 9 thumbs up. What the hell is that?
I missed the joke.
Well, yeah, it's the episode where Homer becomes a food critic and he just raves about everything he reads.
Right. Okay.
And like a riot is started by other food critics who are tired of him, like, breaking the scale. And one of them's like, I mean, come on, 9 thumbs up. What the hell is that?
Nice.
And so when I said I gave it 9 thumbs up, that was not me saying I'm giving it a numerical rating of 9. I was just saying it was good, but using a Simpsons reference to do it. That's all.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
One more shout out if you want another take on Alien Thaw, or just want more Alien Thaw content. Our friend Danny over at the Next Issue podcast recently did a full series review, Alien Thaw. He saves all of his issues up to read them all at once. He doesn't go month by month like we do. So this will be the real test to see if he actually listened to all of our episodes like he said he did. I'm not going to tell him about the shout out. So we'll see how that goes. But he gives us shout outs on YouTube all the time to our YouTube channel. So we're going to drop a link to his video on Alien Thaw in the episode description. Go subscribe to the Next Issue podcast. They all work hard over there making content, making comic book content. Right.
They sure are.
But also everything else, like, just videos about everything.
The final thing I'd like to add about this comic is, again, just like I've mentioned in previous issues or previous episodes, I read these issues on a website that lets me illegally pirate them against the law.
I pay for mine.
Yeah, I read them online, though. I don't download them. But there is a comment that someone left 4 days ago on this issue that says they fixed it. And
all right.
And someone else responds, fixed what? Because I'm confused. May have to read the series over again. And that comment was only left 16 hours ago as of this recording. So the original person that said they fixed it has not yet said what the it is they're referring to. But there is a third comment that was left 3 days ago that says, sweet. And that's it.
Hell yeah. All right, now that's...
So this is what the internet, the internet that uses this website is saying about this comic.
That's
someone is confused, and yeah. And also when that guy said fixed what? Because I'm confused. They actually there's a typo. They didn't write they wrote 8M, but still.
Wow, dude. Maybe they're trying to do the shorthand for mate, like they're in Australia or.
That's what I thought, but it's 8M, not M8. So I just assume it says but they wrote the I as an 8 accidentally. But yeah, just there you go. They fixed it. I don't know what that means, but that's what somebody said about this comic. So there you go.
Could be. A couple quick updates. First, looking like the Alien and Ripley DLC maybe not coming to Dead by Daylight until August 29th, according to AVP Galaxy.
All right.
Yeah, it looks like August 29th. Yep, according to the official Dead by Daylight roadmap.
Cool.
So there's that. And also something we probably should have dropped up top, Kenny. Totally forgot that it was announced that Prey is getting a home video release, a DVD, Blu-ray, and a 4K.
It sure is. I completely forgot about that, which is why I didn't mention it earlier.
I am hella excited about that. Got to get that one on 4K for sure.
I believe you said it comes out in October, but you didn't give me a date beyond that.
Give me just a second here. I'll see if I can get a date. October 3rd.
Oh, nice. I expected it to be later in the month than that. Nice. Hell yeah.
Just in time for Halloween.
That's right.
Damn, that is a nice looking steelbook. Shit, am I gonna start buying steelbooks? Christ.
I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily getting the steelbook, but I'm definitely getting the movie. I might even spring for the 4K. I don't know.
I'm gonna get the 4K. I did get the steelbook. The only steelbook I have in my collection is the Army of Darkness steelbook from, I think, Shout Factory with the 4 cuts of the movie.
The reason why I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to get the 4K or not is because if you recall, if you cast your mind back to our conversation about the movie, my one complaint about it was that there were points where I didn't think the CG looked super great. So I don't know if I necessarily want to get specifically the 4K version, because that'll just make the not as good CG moments even more noticeable.
Well, I mean, the Marvel movies have gotten like some polish.
Well, that's true.
And like the TV shows and stuff have gotten like some polish between releases. maybe Disney owning 20th Century is going to like, yeah, let's just punch that up a little bit before we drop it on 4K, you know?
Also, I'd like to mention as a follow-up to the immediately previous conversation, I do not own any steel books of movies, but
Sure.
I do own some of video games. But I don't
Yeah.
have any movie steel books.
I think I own the Steelbook for Persona 5 Royal and Shadow of the Tomb Raider on Xbox.
Oh,
And
I
that's
have
it.
a few. I have like probably 4 or 5 steel books of video games.
Oh,
I can't see them off the top of my head just because where my games are, I have other things stacked in front of them, so I can't see the games. But I have probably 4 or 5 steel books of games. But yeah, I don't have any movie steel books. So
also, I have a Steelbook for Mortal Kombat Armageddon on the PlayStation 2.
of course you do.
Yeah, of course I do. All right, Kenny, let's we're just way off topic now.
Yeah, we're just kind of rambling by this point.
Yeah, of course it's been a minute. I mean, I haven't been feeling well. It's been a minute since we've recorded, so
that's
know.
true. That's true.
Got a lot to catch up on.
That's right.
But it's my birthday and I want to go do something else now.
Fair enough.
Kenny, where can people find you on the internet if you want them to?
I am on various social media platforms under the handle CYHOBBEZ. I'm one of those freaks that still fucking uses Twitter, but I'm also on Blue Sky now. And if you're on the PSN, send me a friend request. I may or may not accept it.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram at Final Neal Retro, twitch.tv/Final Neal. Might as well plug that, right?
May as well.
And I mean, I'm on X, but don't follow me there. I don't use it. And I'm on Blue Sky at Final Neal, but I don't even think I have the app installed. Is there an app?
Yeah, there is. I use it.
Okay.
You are on it. You have not done any posts since you signed up for it. You're basically just squatting on your handle so that nobody else takes it. Good work.
Sure. Yeah. Proud of myself for that one. And TikTok at Final Neal. Who cares?
Yeah.
I kind of still do a Mortal Kombat podcast called MK Podquest. You can find it at mkpodquest.com. It's winding down. I've got an episode we recorded that I haven't released yet. That'll probably get out sometime this week. It's been a couple.
Nice.
Kenny, where can people find this show on the internet?
Our Twitter handle is at Crew Expendapod. Our Instagram handle is at Crew Expendablepod. Our website is crewexpendable.net. You can send us an email, mother@crewexpendable.net. And our YouTube page is youtube.com/@crewexpendable.
Yeah, we'll be streaming Alien Dead by Daylight over there sometime after the 29th. And maybe before then, I'll get around to doing that Aliens versus Predator Extinction stream that I teased on the last episode that I've been too sick and busy to do.
Good work.
We will be back next episode to talk about the first Marvel Alien series, Alien Bloodlines. We're planning on doing that in 2 episodes, so issues 1 through 3 of Bloodlines on the next episode. You can probably figure out the one after that will be 4 through 6.
There is 6 issues to the arc, so yes.
So we're splitting that in 2, and then we'll be doing Revival as well, crossing off those Marvel books. Finally, I was suspecting something from this book would lead into Bloodlines, right? Because of all the Project Alpha stuff, and this happening a couple of years before that one. So we might want to keep an eye out, see if anything like that happens, but it probably won't anyway.
Yeah, all that talk about the Alpha Project in this comic never really did end up going anywhere.
Yeah, but again, I kind of like that. I kind of like this stuff all exists in the same world. We don't always have to be talking about all of it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. I'm simply pointing it out because over the course of this comic, we kept on pointing out all of the references to the Alpha Project this comic made. And turns out it didn't end up actually becoming important.
Right.
So,
but we'll see on the next Declan Shalvey series where that goes. Anyway, Alien Bloodlines, next episode.
Well, issues 1 through 3 anyway.
Issues 1 through 3. Until then, stay frosty.